Welcome to the first tracked session of the day. It's really exciting to see so many participants at the conference. Of course, it would have been even nicer if we'd all been there in the flesh, but fingers crossed for next year. So by way of introduction, my name is Amanda Zeffman, and I'm head of consultancy services at Cambridge Enterprise, which, for those of you who don't know, is the commercialisation arm of the University of Cambridge. And I'm going to be the moderator for this session. So before we begin, just a few housekeeping things. So as you may have gathered already, all of the question and answers will be via the chat function. And we're going to start off with a couple of the presentations, which will be about 15 minutes each, then go to question and answers. And I promise I'll do my very best at multitasking and fielding the questions. Now, just to remind you that if we don't have enough time to get through all the questions, then there is, of course, AirMeet, which hopefully you've had an opportunity to use already. Or also Cvent, on the Cvent platform, you're also able to book meetings on that as well. So what is this morning's session about? Well, of course, strong relationships and engagement with external organisations is often crucial for effective knowledge transfer, obviously including commercialisation. And this session is going to explore how we can leverage our wider organisations family, specifically our alumni, as partners, but also as two-way portal to enhanced engagement with industry and other organisations. And I know, certainly at Cambridge and other organisations, for many of us, the alumni and development office are often distinct from our commercialisation technology transfer functions and often don't mix in terms of activity, function. And the question is, are we missing a trick here, really? So, of course, our alumni can be our champions. They hopefully understand about the culture of our organisations and the remit, as well as helping us to understand the external side of things too. So how can we engage them in a mutually beneficial way? Well, today we're really fortunate to have two great examples to share with you. So one is from the Università Ca' Foscari in Venice in Italy, and another one from the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology in Germany. So it gives me great pleasure, first of all, to introduce you to Marco Cosmo, who is the director of the Ca' Foscari Alumni. So just a little bit of background to Marco. So having worked in the banking sector for a little bit, he then took up a role as a temporary research associate on a project around alumni and resources. And actually, of course, this set him up very well for becoming the director of the Ca' Foscari Alumni in 2015. Which has 18,000 members and a network of more than 70,000 contacts in 100 countries around the world. And obviously, Marco will tell you more about that. Marco is an alumnus himself as well, and since 2017 has been working in the development office, dealing with corporate programme, business development, and also special projects. Now, our second speaker is Dagmar Vussing, who is director and head of technology transfer at the Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, where she has been since 2010. So after a series of university-based roles, she moved to Karlsruhe Institute of Technology to work in the service unit innovation and relation management. And since 2013 has been in a leadership role, so has been head of that unit. So her main role there is obviously, in addition to technology marketing and exploitation is also strengthening the topic of innovation at KIT, and also managing a number of strategic cooperation projects for further development of technology transfer. So without further ado, I am going to pass over to Marco to tell us about his model at Ca' Foscari.
So here we are. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Amanda. And first of all, I want to thank ASTP for inviting me to this annual conference. It will be a pleasure for me to share my experience with all of you. As we say, my name is Marco Cosmo, and I am the director of Ca' Foscari Alumni, the network of all the graduates of Ca' Foscari University in Venice. I'm going to show you how this network could be prodromal for the knowledge transfer activities for the university. I'm going to show you also how we launched the alumni project about 10 years ago. I'm pretty proud to say that we have been the first public university in Italy to have an alumni office, and we start really from zero. I mean, there was no relationship between the university and its graduates since 2011. Okay, here are a few numbers and stats about Ca' Foscari University and the alumni network, just to set up the framework of our reality. The university has been founded in the 1868 as the Scuola Superiore di Commercio, that means Advanced School for Commerce. As we said, Ca' Foscari is a public university and was the first Italian institution to deal with advanced education in business and economics. The original main office is still found in the Grand Canal, and here you can see a nice picture of our headquarters in Venice. We have about 22,000 students among 8 departments. We have Asian and North Africa studies, economics, environmental sciences, informatics and statistics, humanities, linguistics and comparative cultural studies, management, molecular sciences and nanosystemics, philosophy and cultural heritage. We graduated about 100,000 students, and we are in touch with them, with 75,000 of them. Of course, it's not easy to find all the emails of the whole alumni, and they are spread in about 90 countries in the world. Then we have a strong community of 18,000 alumni. That means that these alumni are also registered on our platform, so we know a lot of things about their work, where they live, the interest, and so on. Pre-COVID scenario, we used to organize about 70 events every year. We can say that the alumni network is an international community with interest and contact spread around the world. That's why in 2015 we started to set up some virtual offices in crucial cities. I mean, we did some studies and we saw where the alumni lives and where the alumni work, and start to open some chapter. We start from Italy in Milan, and then we spread around Europe and around the world. For example, we have Ca' Foscari alumni in Paris, London, in Dublin, Brussels, Dubai, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Tokyo, San Francisco, New York, and we would like to open soon in Zurich and Rome. But we can say that, yes, the alumni community is a worldwide, deep-skilled and high-potential network that can play a crucial role for any university. Think of, for example, job opportunities, grow on institution breadth through word of mouth marketing, provide mentoring, and of course fundraising and knowledge transfer. But the big question is, how can we engage and retain our alumni? That's really, really tough. In my opinion, you can set up as many benefit or loyalty program, but if you want to be attractive for your alumni, you have to stimulate the sense of pride of being a Ca' Foscari graduate. You have to give them good occasion of high-standing networking. You have to give them good events, and of course, finally, encourage business opportunity as well. So here, the first thing that we did to build the alumni community. Of course, we start from the database. We had no database, so this part was really tough. Need like 1 year just working only on the database. Try to find out the emails, where they work, where they live, their interest, and profiling all our alumni. As we said, engaging events are absolutely crucial for an alumni community. As we said, a pre-COVID scenario, we were used to organize more than 70 events per year. I think that the events are a perfect occasions to know your alumni community, to let them communicate each other, to know each other, and to know the companies, because behind an alumnus, we have companies, we have institutions, and of course, during the events, you can promote university excellence and spread your brand. Another crucial point is the communication. As we know, all of us receive hundreds of emails every day. So my mantra was few emails. So we have one monthly newsletter, and we make only target communication. So we know what the interest of our alumni, and we send communication only based on their interest. I think that the alumni office should be the open door to the university and the window open to the world. Alumni office can promoting our excellence in many research fields that can fit with company needs, and that's crucial for knowledge transfer. Here we have the organization in our university. You can see how and who is engaged on technology transfer process. Since 2017, the principal actor of technology transfer is a new unit called PINK, that means Promoting Innovation and Knowledge. It's a team of 8 people. It's a sort of a spin-off of our research office. And part of the team works also Fondazione Ca' Foscari, that is an instrumental entity. It's 100% participated by Ca' Foscari University. And as we can see, alumni has a crucial role. It's like a bridge that make communication from the company world to the university world. So here is the description of the technology transfer office that has, as we said, a strong collaboration between alumni. And I want to go forward to the service that the Pink Halo So knowledge transfer, all activities aimed at transferring knowledge from research to the market. That means making scientific and technological developments accessible to a wide range of users who subsequently can develop new products, process, application, and material or services, of course. We have to think that company which want to invest in research and innovation or need to find innovative solution to their challenge, with Pink, they have a dedicated interface for encountering the multidisciplinary scientific skills found at Ca' Foscari University. With a wide range of expertise and specialized services in the field of protection, management, and the exploitation of industrial property. Pink is the point of contact between different scientific technological areas, and of course between the academic community and the business world, where alumni plays a crucial role as a bridge, as we said. Ca' Foscari University earns its place on the podium of the Italian University for the quality of research. Thanks with the 5 departments of excellence selected by the Ministry of Education, and Pink make contact between the companies and this department. You have to think that in Ca' Foscari we have more or less 1,000 researchers and professors. So Pink has a crucial role when they speak with the company and they listen what the company needs. They have a screen of all our researchers and our professors, so they can say to the company the perfect solution for their needs and put in contact the company with a single researcher or a pool of researchers and professors or the department. I would like to speak about 2 case studies, quite recent. The first one was the collaboration with the European Space Agency, thanks to Roberta Gregori, one of our alumni. And we make a life cycle assessment of a space tracking terminal based in New Norcia in Western Australia. And this is the first case of space tracking, and it's an excellent case where we start to work with the European Space Agency just thanks to Roberta Gregori. She put in touch the university with ESA, and we are starting now with this big project. Another kind of case study is the mentoring program. Mentoring is a high impact service for startup, and we would like to create a valid support for all the university spin-off, and it's a kind of startup funded by our researcher. I would like to leveraging the expertise of our alumni in different fields. This could be, I think, a great boost for our researcher that often have weakness in field like communication and commercial skills. So we have our database of alumni, and when our spin-off, our researcher needs some help, we can put in touch them with our alumni. So this is my contact. So if you want to contact me, feel free. Amanda, back to you.
Okay, no, thank you, Marco. Actually, I think I should start directly, Amanda, if it's okay.
That's correct.
Yes, that's great. Okay, so just also let me share my presentation with you so that you also can see what I'm talking about. And like Marco, I want to start with thanking the ASTB for inviting me to talk about what we are doing with alumni, and also Marco for starting out with how they actually started their alumni network. My point of view is a little bit different because I'm part of the technology transfer office, and when we started working with the alumni in knowledge and technology transfer here at KIT, we already had an established alumni network. So we started a little bit different than from what Marco has been telling you in the past few minutes. So just a few words about who we are and who I am. The Karlsruhe Institute of Technology is based in the southwest of Germany, in the state of Baden-Württemberg, and it's actually a unique institution for German standards, because we are not only a university funded by the state of Baden-Württemberg, but we're also a federal research institute funded actually by the federal government, which is kind of the reason that we have for the 23,000 students that we have, but also nearly 10,000 employees and about 5,000 to 6,000 of them working in research and teaching, which is kind of a different balance from the usual universities that you find in Germany. Also, what KIT put up is something that was mentioned, or that was a big part of the keynote this morning, is the third mission, or the third pillar of besides research and teaching, because KIT, when it was founded 10 years ago, 11 years ago, put up innovation as the third equal pillar besides research and teaching. We have a broad range of disciplines that are taught and where we do research here at KIT, basically from the natural sciences and engineering sciences. And we have a funding about 970 million euros per year. And also, I wanted to give you a number that you see below. We have 23,000 registered alumni, but it's like something that Marco already as well told us. Those are the ones registered actively with our network. But we also have we stand in contact with about 60 to 70,000 of our alumni, basically from our LinkedIn webpage, which is a big part of the way we communicate with our alumni. What I am part of is what we call it at KIT is the service unit innovation and relations management, which is also a part why we were able to put up such a good connection between technology transfer and alumni, actually, because we are a bigger unit than you find usually for the technology transfer. We have the technology transfer field that we're working with about 30 people, but part of the bigger service unit is also the career service and especially the alumni office. So it really just made sense for us to put our resources together and to work together closely with those two offices. The whole service unit has around 85,000 people. And like I said, the part of technology transfer, which includes the patent managers and the license managers and our innovation managers and all aspects of the core technology transfer, we are around 30 people of those 85. So when we started working with alumni, we put some thought into it. Why would we want to do this actually? And we had like a few challenges, which probably all of you know as well in the everyday life of a KTT office or a technology transfer offices. You only have limited resources and limited personnel. So to actually cover all the aspects and all the technologies and all the knowledge about all the technologies that are part of what comes out of the research at KIT. And we also need a broad knowledge of the diverse markets and market segments that are out there. And we basically cannot cover it with the kind of stuff that we have at our TTO. And also, which is always a basic problem, is to have easy access to industry and to companies and to people, to have personal access to the people working there. So when we put some thought into it, what we wanted to do about this was basically we came up with the point of alumni. and why are alumni such a good additional resource to the people working in the TTO is basically they have a detailed knowledge about the fields of the alma mater they are coming from, because they studied there. They studied some discipline that is taught at the university they're coming from. So they are usually able to understand the technologies that we want to discuss with them. They added some more knowledge to what they learned at university during their professional career in industry, which is always what we are looking for. And they also built up their extensive professional and personal networks outside of KIT or outside their alma mater, which is, of course, also something that we would like to use, or which we would like to for them to help us with. And what we thought and what we really found out during the past years is that they really have a big intrinsic motivation to support KIT, or basically to support their own alma mater and put effort and work into helping out the university where they learned their profession. So this were basically the basics that we started out with. And we put some thought into it. How can the alumni help us, especially in the field of knowledge and technology transfer? And then we came up with 2 parts of it. Basically, how can we involve all alumni to reach as many people as possible? And how can we maybe just reach a smaller group of alumni, but involve them more actively in knowledge and technology transfer at KIT? What's behind reaching all alumni is basically we can broadening the reach of our general technology marketing activities. Usually people spend a lot more attention to information that's coming from an organization they know. So it's pretty easy to just put out information that we already have to this specific target group, and they probably spend more attention on it than from if they get information from somewhere else. It's also a great benefit for the general alumni work, because like Marco also said, you have to actively work with your alumni to generate some sense of connection to their alma mater. And if you provide them with some inside information, as you might call it, they really feel more connected to their alma mater. And also what's basically a good point in that one is once you set up some kind of activity, it's usually done with a manageable effort or minimal effort for both, especially the technology transfer office, but also for the alumni to just have to read something or just pick up some information, but they don't have to be active if they don't want to. What we did beside that, we set up a group that you might call transfer alumni, as we like to label them. And those are just a smaller group of people who are really willing to support more actively what we're doing in technology and technology transfer. And this is an additional offer for those of the big number of alumni who really want to support their alma mater with more time. Basically, we don't ask for money or something, just for their time and their knowledge. But it's also a higher effort for both sides as well. It's for us from the technology transfer office side, because we have to actively engage them on and on. And it's also a higher effort for the alumni, because they have to put some work and some time into it, but they're really willing to do that one. So in the following slides, I would just like to tell you some really examples or case studies, what we are doing with our alumni. And I would like to start with those simple activities that we're doing for all the alumni that we have on board at KIT. And some of those things might seem really simple to you, but it really, like I said, it's minimal effort for a really broad reach. What we did in the beginning is we already had established research to business newsletter, which is basically our technology transfer newsletter with our technologies from KIT. And what we did is we promoted that one on the landing page for our alumni, and also included the subscription option if you subscribed to the alumni network. And this really was just a small thing, but it increased the number of subscriptions for our newsletter by, I don't know, high numbers actually. And right now is our main source for new subscriptions for our technology transfer newsletter. So that was really just a small bit, but it really has a broad outreach or wide outreach for what we are doing with them. The second thing we did is actually we have a we have an alumni newsletter as well. not only the technology transfer newsletter, but the alumni newsletter. And we created a new section, which is technology transfer at KIT, basically. And for every alumni newsletter that gets sent out, there are like 2 or 3 short articles about technology transfer topics that get sent out to those 23,000 registered alumni. So we don't have as many information as in them as the research to business newsletter, but selected information gets sent out to this 23,000 people in addition as well. So we again broadened our reach for whatever we are promoting out there. And the third thing we just did, like I said before, we have a LinkedIn web page, which is basically the main communication channel for alumni or everybody associated with KIT out there. We have like, I don't know, 70,000 followers is my last guess. Oh, you can see it there. There was like 70,000 followers. Probably right now it's a little bit more. And we established this section as well, research to business. So what we are doing is every 2 weeks, you will find an article with this label research to business and with the own hashtags, so that we put a constant stream about technology topics out there on this LinkedIn site to be seen by those 70,000 followers. And we also use it for current news that do not fit in this 2-week rhythm, just to promote events or something else if it comes up at a specific time. So this is what we're doing as well. For both the alumni newsletter and this LinkedIn part, it's important to keep up a constant stream of information, to have this rhythm, so not as to lose the people following those things, but to provide them constantly with some information from the world of technology transfer. And the fourth part that we're doing with all alumni or the registered alumni as well is we invite them to technology transfer events that we're doing anyway. But this also leads to more participants in our events. The picture you're seeing here is from our KIT Innovation Day that we have yearly. And we put up a industry and alumni tent where they can just meet and talk to people, and they know they're welcome there and there are people talking to them. We usually provide some kind of extra program just for the alumni to engage them more. We put up just a lunch table, which is basically really easy. We have lunch tables anyway, and just one of them gets like a flag which says this is the alumni table. So everybody knows where to meet for lunch and to talk to each other and to talk about what they experienced while they were at KIT. And all this helps to engage them closer to each other and also to engage them to the topic of innovation and technology transfer, because this is the topic of the whole day. So this is just some small things we did to include all alumni in what we're doing with knowledge and technology transfer. Now I would like to tell you something more about what I've labeled in the beginning as our transfer alumni. And in 2018, we set up a new network, which is called the KIT Industry Experts. And so far, we have around 170 members, all of them alumni of KIT. And those people join as a private person, not as part or as a representative of their company. Of course, the lines usually blur there, but they're not a representative of their company in this network. They come from various disciplines, backgrounds, from what they studied at KIT. Of course, not all of them connected to what we are teaching and studying at KIT. So, like I said in the beginning, it makes sense to use those people. But after they left KIT, they branched out into different industries, into different countries. The majority of them still is in Germany, but we have people living all over Europe, but also in the United States, or sometimes not so common countries. Like one of the alumni really engaged in the network is staying in Brazil at the moment. And so it's spread usually worldwide. And they also work in companies of various sizes, from small startups that just have been set up like a few years ago to global players and so on. And also in different positions. Some of them just young professionals just starting to work, up to executive level, or even owners of middle-sized companies in Germany. So we have like everybody working there. What do they do? The basic thing they do is the industry experts do is they support us, the technology transfer office, but also the scientists directly in different functions. And for that, they just use their knowledge and expertise that they learned throughout their working experiences. For example, we can ask them about R&D from an industrial point of view. We can use their market knowledge. We can use their international expertise or whatever might be interesting for us by just talking to them. And this talking to them is actually one aspect I would like to mention. When they register for this KIT Industry Expert Network, they accept a non-disclosure agreement. So this gives us the opportunity to talk to them more freely than we would just talk to somebody else that we do not know that well. So this is kind of a crucial aspect, which is why we're doing what we're doing with only the smaller group and not with all the alumni that are out there and registered at the KIT network. In the following points, I would like to tell you a little bit more about the activities that we are doing with them. That starts actually with online surveys, where we just explain a technology in a short presentation, which is done by the scientist responsible for this technology. And then we usually develop a survey with questions regarding this technology, further development ideas, application possibilities, maybe market barriers, or if our industry experts know some companies who might be interested in that technology, and so on. This survey varies from technology to technology based on what we are interested in, basically. And usually when we send that out, we get a feedback of around 30% of our experts, maybe 40%, but we also usually get back like 3 to 5 emails, like long explanations why they are so sorry that they couldn't take part in this specific survey, and because it's just not their technology area, but they really want to help us out. Or we also got emails back like 3 to 4 pages with additional information just to help us out with the technology, which really shows how committed and engaged they are in this kind of work. Those online surveys take some preparation, especially for the scientists. It's usually not that kind of presentation that they're usually doing for a scientific conference, but we really get like good feedback from a bigger number of people than just talking one-on-one. This talking on one-on-one also happens because usually all our industry experts volunteer to consult with us as the technology transfer office. So our innovation managers and licensing managers, they usually can just search through our industry experts and say, oh, hey, this one looks really interesting, and I have a problem with a technology from that field of experience that he has, and you just can contact him by email, by phone, or by video chat or whatever, and just talk it through. Just ask questions, get insights from the industry. Some of our innovation managers have established really good connections to 2 or 3 of the industry experts from their area of expertise and contact them often. There's really like a close connection established there as well. We also ask our industry experts to give lectures or to act as speakers for various occasions that might be in close connection with our career service unit, just to give career opportunities or insights into job opportunities, or what you can do with whatever you're studying after you're finished. We also had talks about what's happening in industry in this kind of expertise, just to give it to the institutes who can keep up to date what the industry is after. And we use them for different reasons. We sometimes get contacted by different entities from KIT who are in search of a speaker. And also here again is those industry experts are really engaged in what they are doing, and usually it just takes asking 1 or 2 people if they want to do a lecture, and they're all really, really, really willing and really, really happy that we asked them to do this one. So it's a great resource for just the right people giving a lecture or act as a speaker. We also use them, if you might call it that one, to support our scientists directly, our researchers directly, whether it's with just short-term advice for just a specific question, which is basically covered by 1 or 2 phone calls. And sorry. 1 or 2 phone calls, and then you just have the answer to what you ask. But we also use them sometimes for long-term support of researchers or research projects that they are willing to follow up for, I don't know, a year or 2 on the expert side, and really contribute to that one. We also work together with our mentoring program because they don't have an own pool of mentors that they can provide. But if there are specific people thought for, we just can look in our network and usually find the suitable mentor as well, and the ones willing to help with that one. We are always open for further possibilities, whether they are provided by the industry experts or whether there's a scientist with a specific request, and we usually find a match for that one. Currently, we are looking into setting up small discussion groups on a digital platform, just as an in-between between the online service on a more anonymous basis and the one-on-one consulting or the short-term advice that we're doing with them, just to discuss maybe a technology with 5 to 6 people from industry who have insights for that one. So this is something that we really are looking forward to. And just a word on everything I told you, of course, those are not really marketing activities in a direct sense, but all this close contact to our industry experts really have opened up doors for us. So just a few words on the experiences so far, which you probably could also read between the lines while I was talking. Everything we've done so far was a great success for all the parts, for us as the TTO, for the alumni office as well, because they could offer several more benefits for the alumni that they haven't had before, but also for our scientists and for the alumni as well. So we're really looking forward to establishing this network more and more. If you have any more questions, just ask them right now, or contact me throughout the ASTP today or tomorrow. Or what you can also do is we wrote a workbook about alumni and knowledge and technology transfer, which you can basically just download and check through and read through what kind of activities we established and what kind of experiences we had with that one so far. So that would be my part. I just have to... Okay, Amanda?
Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you very much to both of you for sharing, what sounds to be really successful initiatives. And I think there's, some key points that common to both of your presentations. So certainly in terms of the engagement challenges, but also the fact that they can be really valuable in terms of helping with resource. And as we all find ourselves under increasing pressure, it's a really valuable resource. And I think that there was mention of mentors and so on as well. And in terms of engagement, I think, Marco, your comment about targeting your marketing, if you like, and making it more targeted and not just bombarding them with emails, I think is a really valuable point. And Dagmar, I mean, I think from your model, the fact that, if you like, the tech transfer commercialization part sits very closely with the development of the alumni is obviously significantly helped in terms of internal relationships and being able to at least have the same direction and the same strategy and so on. There are already some questions in the chat, so I'm going to read those out, and then I would encourage anybody who has any questions, please do put them in there, and then I have a few myself if we have time as well. So the first one is to Dagmar. So the question is relating to whether you give your alumni any payment for the consulting or any other KT support activities, or do they basically give their help for free?
It's actually the last one. They give their help for free. They are volunteers for whatever they are doing for us. And there comes in play what also Marco mentioned and what I mentioned before is they're really highly motivated to give back to the university they are studied at. And it's just basically they're really actually excited if we ask them if they want to give lecture, for example, which means preparation for them, which means usually if we're going back to pre-COVID, which means traveling to KIT and stay there for several hours and give a lecture. And they're really excited just to being asked and to be able to come back to the alma mater and to give something back. So we didn't actually, when we started that, we thought like, okay, maybe they are interested in doing some, but they are really, the level of involvement is really, really high.
That's brilliant, really, isn't it? Yeah. And Marco, just to sort of extend that to you as well, in terms of your engagements with alumni, what are your financial models? How do you, or do they also offer for free?
So we have a freemium model. That means that you can register at the association for free, and you receive the information, the invitation of our events, or you can choose a premium membership. You pay 68 euro every year, and you have more benefit, for example, with our partner, and some events, especially networking events with the aperitif or dinner. For the premium membership, these events are free, and for the basic membership, you have to pay a little bit. Then you can be a part of the association also if you are a company. When company enroll in the association, they pay a little bit, and they have the logo on our communication, the invitation to all the events, and they take part of the community.
Great, thank you, Marco. So we have a question from Mirko. So he wants to know whether alumni relations can help to find co-investors and C-level executives for university spin-out. So have either of you had that happen or had experience of that?
Yeah, absolutely. It happened a few years ago. One of our professor had asked me if I know somebody very skilled on finance, because he had a great idea, but she doesn't know how to transform the idea to a spin-off. And I put her in contact with one of our alumni, and he helped her like mentor, and then he became a co-founder.
Brilliant, thank you. And Dagmar, do you have any?
We actually, with the network, when we started out, we started especially with the focus on the licensing part of the technology transfer. So what we're looking at right now is expanding into the startup scene as well. And I think it will happen at some point, because we have really a few of the industry experts who are really interested in supporting startups as a mentor, maybe, or even as an investor later on. We also had questions from our industry experts to set up a fund that can be financed by the alumni to invest in startups and so on. But this is something that we really have to think through and set up, and we haven't gone so far as well. So
thank you for that. And actually that ties in nicely with my colleague Paul Seabright's question about whether anyone has experience of raising proof of concept or seed funds from alumni.
Actually, this is what we're discussing right now for such a proof of concept fund with our vice president. There are no concrete ideas as well, but we really want to set that up. And I think it's a good source, actually, because for Germany, it's a little bit different than for the United States or for probably as the UK as well. In Germany, it's not common to ask for funding from the alumni, but it's really something that I think is possible, and where the alumni might also want to be able and want to be willing to contribute. So this is something we're looking at actually for the past 2 months right now, and want to set it up.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah.
There's a question relating to GDPR. So, of course, you know, when you, which is very topical in the past few years. So, how did you manage that? So, in terms of, you know, access to data to create the network. So, maybe Marco, do you want to?
Yeah. So, of course, GDPR is a very, very tough thing to manage. Fortunately, we adequate our contacts a few years before that it became a law in Italy. So we started 1 or 2 years before that GDPR became a law in Italy, and we asked to everybody the okay to continue to communicate them, and we managed like this.
It's basically, it's the same for us. If they register for the industry experts, they volunteer a lot of information, and this is all GDPR conform. So we check this twice and 3 times, and whatever we ask in them, as long as we keep it private, and it's really just like, say, maybe 5 to 6 people who have access to all the information that we're gathering from them. The rest is always filtered and just passed through our filter, and just for the basics that you need, and everything else is just handled by a handful of people. So in that case, it's no problem, and especially since they are volunteering all the information, it's not something that we gather from the internet or something. Just we ask them the question, they volunteer it, and they check that we allow to use it. So that's no problem in that case, actually.
Great, thank you. So Sarah is curious about branches in other cities. So obviously, Marco, you mentioned about all the different branches that you've got, and whether you do events there or just virtual meetings, and how is it organized?
I mean, before COVID, we did the events in person. And we have a volunteer in every different cities. Unfortunately, we can't travel every time that we make an event abroad because we have now a big budget. So people for example, in Milan, they organize an event. They write to me. We see the program. We say, okay, it's fine for us. And we manage the communication to all the alumni that lives in Milan, and they organize the events. So volunteer doesn't touch the contacts. We touch the contacts, and we send the email to people that lives in Milan, and they organize everything. Sometimes we travel, so the office moved to the city with the events. Usually when it's a big event or if there is some occasion. For example, in 2019 we went to Shanghai with the delegation of Ca' Foscari, and we organized, of course, an event because we were there for many other things.
Great, thank you. And sort of on the topic of communication with alumni, we have a question from David Mace, who's asking about, obviously, efficient and customized communication isn't easy. You know, as you were talking about, Marco, in your presentation, it requires some resources. Do you actually have communication specialists in your team, or is it just simply handled by knowledge transfer officers, for example?
I would. I mean, the alumni office is composed by me, Beatrice, and we have an external collaboration that work with the social network. But unfortunately, we don't have a specialist about communication, so we manage everything. And the key role is the database. When you know the information about your alumni, you can quite easily segment the communication and send the right thing to the right people.
Okay. And Dagmar?
Yeah, it's a little different for us. So we have, as well as in the alumni office, as well as the TTO, we have like communication and marketing specialists. So like I said, we have those newsletters, especially the technology transfer newsletter is a colleague of mine who's doing all the articles and all the interviews and all the management of that one. And a lot of that, what is done there, we use for all the other things I mentioned. And But we have several other colleagues who are also doing a communication in the technology transfer part. So we're really lucky in that aspect. But this changes a bit if you're talking about LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is about talking to each other on a personal level. So this is what the innovation managers do themselves. So it's not. So it's a mix of what we're doing there as well.
Yeah. And I mean, sort of following on from that, I'm curious to know, because I would imagine that in individual research departments and so on, they have their own strong ties to alumni. And how much do you use those internal connections directly, so to be more, of a focused communication, as opposed to, they just become part of, the alumni network and they get the same communication as each other? Do you actually use your internal researchers to help with engagement in that way?
Well, I'm not the expert on the overall alumni network, but I know that my colleague Agnes Honker, she's also in the audience. She's using or she's talking to the institutes and departments and setting up connections between her central alumni work and those done in the departments. So there is a close connection there as well. So I know that there's some work done, and it makes sense, because usually you have a stronger tie to the professor that you studied at, and not only the alma mater, but also to the department that you studied at. So there are close connections, and they're closely working together. So for the ones that we recruited from the industry expert side, since it's just a small part of the whole alumni network, we just send out a call, and those really interested in technology transfer just are coming to us. So that's the mix there that we have there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good. So we've only got a few minutes left. So we've got one last question. So this is from Sarah. Alumni often want access to students. So do you connect them to the careers service?
Yes. For example, many times our alumni write or call us because they have some job opportunities, and we make a bridge between the company and the career service, and they talk together, and all the communication is in charge with the career services.
Yeah. For us, again, two different answers. The career service and alumni office are one department of the service unit I mentioned before. So there's close connection is there anyway. So, and for the ones that are industry experts, they're usually not interested in recruiting actually, because they're interested in this whole topic of innovation and technology transfer. They're not the recruiting officers of the companies that are represented there. Mm-hmm. So they usually don't ask about recruiting. We never had that question actually in the 3 years that we're running now.
Well, it's interesting to see. Yeah. And talking of, outputs, so and what actually happens, do you measure them? Do you look at metrics, or is that something that you hope to do in the future?
We don't measure it in numbers, but we follow up on what we are doing. So far, it's not that big that we cannot do some follow up, and we are lucky so far that from the start of the network until now, it's the same colleague in charge of the network. Mm-hmm. So she's basically the memory of everything that has happened in the past 3 years. If we are growing and if this network gets more members and more activity, then we might have to think about really tracking and doing KPIs and numbers and so on. But so far, we just basically tracking on a qualitative level, if you want to call it.
Which of course is very valuable, because as case studies and examples, again, once you've got nice stories, you can encourage more people to want to get involved. And Marco, do you measure it actually as well? Measure outputs?
We try to measure it. It's not easy, but also, when we make a communication, we try to understand how many people read the emails, which link they click. It's a good exercise also to get better our newsletter, our communication and to understand if it's better to communicate something in the newsletter or in Facebook or in LinkedIn, because we communicate a lot of things, and sometimes we have to use a different channel for different communication.
Perfect. Brilliant. Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for in terms of questions. So just to remind you, anyone who wants to talk to Dagmar or Marco, you can make an appointment with them on the Cvent platform, or you can go to AirMeet and have a discussion about this really interesting topic. Before we go, just a few things I wanted to remind you of. There's now a 30-minute break. Please do also go and visit the exhibitors' virtual booths. It's definitely worth having a look at, or go on to a networking session in the social lounge in AirMeet. And then the second session will start at 12 o'clock. Track 1 is storytelling in KT. Track 2 is scenarios for conflicts of interests in a university surrounding.